For some reason that we don't know and really don't care about, Google has been naming their Android versions after desserts, from cupcake to donut all the way up through ice cream sandwich and jelly bean. So that begs the question, what's next? Well, if they follow their alphabet scheme, we're up to version K. And what starts with the letter K? Pause for just a minute and think. Desserts that start with K. There's a Google search out there that you could do, but let me just spoil it for you. Key lime pie. That's probably what it's going to be called, and there's some rumors coming out of Google I/O that people at Google are already referring to the next version of Android as key lime pie. How about versions? Well, ice cream sandwich was a big step up from honeycomb. I don't need to tell you that, but it was a step from version 3 point something to version 4.0. The latest version of ice cream sandwich is 4.0.4. The .4 at the end being primarily bug fixes. We were kind of disappointed, to be frank, when Jelly Bean came out as version 4.1. Not a huge step forward. Luckily, what was included inside the operating system seems like a huge step forward, even though the version numbering wasn't. So again, that begs the question, what's the next version? Are we going to see version 4.2, maybe a jump to 4.5, or even a jump all the way up to 5.0? I don't know. I'd like to think that it's going to be a major jump up to version 5.0, but the more I look at the OS and what they've done and the buttery smoothness that we have in Jelly Bean, the less I think we're going to have major iterations, at least for the near future. Instead, we'll have minor versions. We'll have version 4.2, 4.3, we might even skip something all the way up to 4.5, but it's going to be an incremental build. That's my guess. Regardless if key lime pie is going to be a major version or a minor version, what's going to be included in it? Well, let's start with the no-brainer. Bug fixes. We know that there are bugs in every version of every software that ever existed. Just kind of sad to think that we have some of those flying in spaceships and satellites, but I digress. We're going to see bug fixes in the next version of Android. Things that we don't know about now, that will be discovered and fixed, will be implemented either along the way as minor patches or altogether in the next version of Android, and probably both. So people that are running on Jelly Bean or Ice Cream Sandwich now will be able to get the bug fixes in the interim, but then all of us will be able to get them when version, whatever we want to call it, comes out in key lime pie. So what else? Improvements. Now, of course, we've got UI improvements, and we saw a major leap with UI improvements with Jelly Bean over Ice Cream Sandwich. The UI itself really didn't change all that much. We saw some additions with Google Search and, what was it, Google Now, Google Today. It's still too early to know what these things are called. That's a joke for you guys who are paying attention. But we're going to see a lot of these minor improvements to the UI, but major improvements to how we experience the UI. Voice will be improved. Touch input will be improved. The way we look at things on the screen will be improved. So we're going to see these improvements that are behind the scenes that just make the entire Android experience that much better. So what else are we going to get? Hardware never sleeps. Okay, I know you can put it into sleep mode and turn it off and stuff, but follow with me, okay? You've got people that are spending their entire careers doing nothing more than figuring out what the next version of the processor is going to be, how the next CPU is going to work, how to cram more cores into a smaller space. Well, this is marching ever onward, so we're going to see, of course, operating systems built to take advantage of all of the progression that we're seeing with hardwares. So what kind of hardware support are we going to see? Right now, Android runs pretty good. Could run better. We need to get better 64-bit support, or any 64-bit support. Then again, we need hardware that supports that as well. We need better multi-core support. Honestly, multi-threading is great, but we've got to find some way to do it better. And not just better at the OS level, but better at the app level as well. Can they do that through the VM? I hope so. That way we won't have to have developers write code specifically to take advantage of a multi-core environment because the VM that the app runs within will just do it. I know that's a lot of technical mumbo-jumbo, but it means faster. When we talk about hardware, we also have to talk about platforms or form factors. Now, we already have smartphones, we have tablets, of course now we have a Google tablet. We also have Google TV, which for some reason we didn't hear too much about at the keynotes at Google I/O this time around. And now we've got this weird funky ball thing, the Nexus Q. By the way, Q is kind of a play on words. It's for Q, Q-U-E-U-E, you know, like align. Because you can queue up, that's a different video. But we're seeing all these advancements and improvements in hardware platforms. We need to make sure that the operating system plays nicely together and really does it seamlessly, so we have a similar, albeit not identical, user experience between the different form factors, and everything plays nicely together. In fact, plays not only seamlessly together, but intuitively together. That's something that the operating system is going to have to continue to evolve and polish as we go along. So now we've talked hardware, let's talk about apps. Now I know apps aren't an integral part of the operating system, but the operating system exposes new APIs or allows you to do current APIs in a different way so that applications can take advantage of them. They can look better, they can be faster, they can tie into new inputs, new sensors, new libraries. So of course we're going to have apps that have to take advantage of that as well. We've seen that with Google Apps. In fact, literally minutes after Jelly Bean was announced, a good chunk of the Google apps were updated to take advantage of some of the new stuff there. Does that mean that it doesn't work anymore in previous versions? Of course not. But it means that if you've got an up-level version of the operating system, now you've got all of these cool new advancements and features that you might not have in a previous version, or the previous version might not look as nice or might not be as pretty. Google has been really good at setting an example of how they can do that and release a new version without sacrificing down-level user experience, and over time build in a lot of the same features and functionalities that the up-level versions are getting into the down-level versions of the operating system, pretty much negating the whole Android is fragmented argument because they're handling that in the code in the apps themselves. The OS is just the platform on which apps run anyway. So that's my thoughts. What about yours? What do you think is going to be coming next in the next iteration of Android, and do you think it's going to be called Android version Key Lime Pie, or is there some other K dessert that you think we might get? Maybe they'll get rid of the whole dessert naming scheme altogether and just call it Android K like they did with the Nexus Q. I don't know. Let us know in the comments down at Pocketnow.com. Of course, give the video a big thumbs up if you liked what you heard, and of course share it with your friends and subscribe to the video channel so you don't miss out on our new and upcoming coverage. For Pocketnow and the Android Guy Weekly, I'm Joe Levi. When we talk about hardware,